You're listening to Cultured on Global News Radio 640 Toronto.
Agapi Gessesse is a powerful, influential, and fearless changemaker. Born and raised in Toronto by a refugee mother, Agapi's commitment to community development stems from her lived experience, which propelled her to obtain her master's degree in social justice. Speaking and writing on topics such as diversity and inclusion, workforce development, and youth engagement, Agapi is currently the executive director of CEE, Center for Young Black Professionals, championing the mission and vision of CEE, addressing economic issues affecting Black youth. She's joining us today to discuss how the organization is supporting youth in Toronto amid COVID-19. Welcome to Cultured, Agapi. We're so excited to talk to you about all the amazing things you are doing.
Oh, thank you. I'm so happy to be here.
So let's start at the beginning. Can you tell us how and when CE was founded and how it developed over time?
Yeah, I often tell people that CE, Center for Young Black Professionals, in its entirety to date is a series of learned lessons. So it actually was founded, it came out of the Summer of the Gun. I'm sure most Torontonians are familiar with the Summer of the Gun in '06.
Yeah.
And that generated a government response. So United Way Toronto, as well as the province of Ontario, came together and created something called the Youth Challenge Fund. I believe 156, don't quote me on the number, but it's around that ballpark. Initiatives came to be, understanding that youth-led initiatives were very important for the safety of our citizens and also for the development of young folks in the city of Toronto. And so C was one of those 100 and odd amount of initiatives that were formed. And we're actually one of 4 that still exists to this day. C was originally founded to foster young entrepreneurs who were furthest from the labor market. And over time, in 2012, when that model quite wasn't working, a gentleman named Kofi Hope, which really we consider this founder of C Center for Young Black Professionals, came on board. He took a year of really just going into community and asking the question, why are youth programming not working? What are the young people not getting? And he took that information and created C Center for Young Black Professionals.
Mm-hmm. So tell us about some of the services and programs that are available for Toronto youth now through C.
Yeah, so C trains young people in 5 major labor gaps in the Canadian market. So trades, hospitality, information technology, social services, and entertainment. So those are 5 industries that we have identified actually have very large gaps in the labor market, meaning they don't have people to fill those roles. And oftentimes people say, oh, well, there's just not any people. We can't find any qualified folks. And I think in this country, we really have a skill problem. We don't have a people problem because there's plenty of us. We actually have a skill problem. So we really we create a talented pool of Black youth that we train in order to be able to fill those gaps.
So how is C being impacted by COVID-19?
Yeah, one of the things I didn't mention that really helped separate C from some other agencies is we don't just train. We have a person-centered approach, which means we work with young people who are furthest from the labor market, but everyone comes with some sort of trauma from communities. There's studies that show by virtue of you just being born a person of color, you will face trauma, right? And so understanding that trauma could be compounded by other life experiences, but really looking at the young person and saying, what is it that is getting between you and becoming, fulfilling what it is that you need to be, or employment, but it might look like something else. Employment might look like entrepreneurship for someone else, right? But how can you stabilize your life? And so one of the things that we're realizing through this entire pandemic is you can't have employment programs and ignore a person-centered approach. You can't ignore the fact that social supports have to be embedded in all programs. So one of the things that we're realizing is, we can train people all we want, but when a pandemic like this takes place, 4 out of the 5 industries that we work in have actually let go of most of our participants. So we found our members jobs, and now they have lost them. And so now we're working on, life stabilization. How can they access some of the supports that are available for them? How are we getting food to them, baby supplies, mental health support, all of those things that in the absence of employment, there's a really large gap there. So that's how we're addressing this pandemic.
Wow. How big is your team there?
We are a small but mighty team. So there are 11 folks on staff. We have 266 members that we serve. 142 of them actually identified that they actually have immediate needs that need to be met. And so we have just been working away at meeting those needs one person at a time since this pandemic has started.
What message do you want to get out there to youth that are listening to you right now?
I think in the midst of this pandemic, a lot of agencies have been forced to close. And I want to say to the larger community, especially Black youth that might be listening, that Center for Young Black Professionals is not just open for the members that we meet that are in our network, but also to the greater community. You can go onto our website, toronto.com. You can take a look at the resources that are available to you, connect with us. All of the things that I mentioned are available to every Torontonian and every Black youth that might be listening to me now.
Thank you so much. Guys, make sure that you find out more about C and Agapi at ctoronto.org. Thank you so much. This is great information, and it's great work that you guys are doing. Right now, we have to take a quick break, but lots more Cultured after this, right here on Global News Radio, 640 Toronto.
Welcome back to